horror movies. Mutilation, decapitation, torture. Does that sound entertaining? More blood than a blood bank. Have we got your attention?
Welcome back, extraterrestrials, to the X-Files franchise breakdown. In today's video, we're going to be doing Season 1, Episode 4's Conduit. And the plotline for this one is Mulder becomes obsessed with solving a case that closely parallels an encounter he experienced as a child. Gotta love Hulu for those short fucking plot lines.
Yeah.
So in this one, a kid disappears. Not necessarily a kid, more of a teenager. And it rings home for Mulder, and he wants to investigate it. So Scully basically helps him out and gets this turned into an X-File.
Yeah.
And they go investigate, and the episode happens.
Yeah.
So
yeah. First off, this is a really good one. This is like last week we dealt with Monster of the Week, but this brought. Okay, this is the X-Files. It just brought that show right back. Oh yeah, this is about aliens, government conspiracies, government cover-ups. Also brought in another really good one of does Mulder trust Scully?
Right.
We're still in that iffy period where he can't trust her. Or he wants to trust her and can't because he knows that she's out there, you know, writing her field reports and things. But yeah, this is like, this would be the one episode like that you want to show someone to get them into the X-Files, I think.
Okay. I think you say that every week.
Every episode is what you want to get people into because the X-Files is great.
All right. Well, I think in this episode, we see for the first time the politics of getting an X-File or getting something turned into an X-File. We see the chain of command with Scully in the commissioner's office saying, well, hold on, let me see if... let me talk to him and see if there's any validity behind it to make an X-File before you say no.
Yeah.
And... That's interesting because that's the first time we see that there actually is a process. This isn't something that he just goes X-File and and then, you know, runs off. So I thought that was interesting that they threw that in there.
Yeah. When does a missing person become an abductee, basically?
Right.
Yeah, I like that a lot. This also episode brings in the paper, rock, scissors theory that I'm going to call, where sheriff's department starts out and the FBI comes in, but it doesn't matter because Homeland and National Security comes when the NRC or whatever they're called, and they're just like
NSA.
Fuck off, just no, shut this off, basically, because the FBI is not in charge. It becomes Homeland Security.
Well, yeah, each law enforcement agency loses to the next law enforcement agency. So. I guess one of those people weren't really NSA.
They were the man. They were the man.
I mean, they say they were the NSA, and there's no reason to believe that they're not.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I thought that they weren't. I don't know. Yeah. But remembering this episode before I watched it, I was like, they're not actually NSA. But I could be just mixing it up with the episode of Psych.
Yeah, they're just the man.
But I'd like to point out that when the abductee, Ruby, the girl that goes missing, actually vanishes, the mom comes out and starts yelling her name, just like the drunk guy from the Hills Have Eyes remake, going, Ruby!
Yeah.
Ruby! Ruby! Ruby!
got too much.
And I was like, okay, all right. I'm having flashbacks to The Hills Have Eyes. But yeah.
And like it's over and over. It's just repetitive.
Yeah.
I'm just hearing Ruby.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other story. There's two stories. There's the abductee, the teenage daughter Ruby, and there's also a story about binary code, where this little boy is starting to write binary code from hearing things seeing white fuzz on the TV.
Yeah.
Leave it to the XFiles to make binary code scary. It's just a piece of paper with ones and zeros on it. They kept going, and they didn't know what it was, and then some scientist had to come out and be like, it's binary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when he faxes it, he said it could just be binary code but that's jumping to the middle of the episode.
Yeah, but I think that's the meat and potatoes. The girl gets abducted, and that's why we're there. But I really feel that little boy's story.
Well, he's a reoccurring character.
Yeah.
He comes back 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up towards the end, but we're here now.
Yeah,
so
I'm bringing it up now.
Actually, season 6, episode 3. We'll just go ahead and do that right now too. I like that character. I don't agree with the fact that he's the meat and potatoes. I think the relationship with Mulder and Scully is the meat and potatoes in this one. The way Mulder becomes vulnerable with her. She finds out about his sister Samantha.
Yeah.
She digs into his past a little bit at the very end of the episode.
Yeah.
And I think all that relationship building, trust building, I think that's probably the meat and potatoes. The point of the episode is to show that Mulder isn't doing this for fun. There's a drive for him.
Yeah.
And essentially he has to find out. He has to go.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a big thing. That's the biggest thing that I took away from this.
Yeah. And I think we're getting a little bit more into the sister story now. Before it was just, just kind of passing. My sister was abducted when I was 12, but now we're starting to see what that really means to Mulder. We're starting to get a little bit more information on Mulder's story, his backstory, on why he's, joining the FBI.
I don't remember them ever mentioning it before.
The sister?
Yeah, I don't think... I mean, it's only 4 episodes in, but I don't remember ever being mentioned.
The pilot, when they're sitting around in the pilot episode, they're after the bug bite, where there's, Mulder, check my back.
Yeah.
And there's bumps, and they're bug bites. Yeah, he says, when I was 12 years old, I watched my sister get abducted. And that's all we've known. But now we start seeing things. We see a picture of Mulder and his sister together. We, just small little bits, just feed it a little bit, pull us in a little bit more, which this series of the X-Files does really well, of just giving us a little bit. Might be a different story week to week, but there's still that underlying story, you know. But yeah, Scully really, she shows her dominance of just nah, motherfucker, I'm telling you what's going to happen, basically. And, Mulder's just no, we got to find the truth. We got to know what's going on,
I think that it shows that she has his best interest in mind, and also that she's kind of like, he's kind of like the dog and she's the owner. He sees the mailman and wants to jump, and she holds the leash and she's like, hey, come on back here. Well, you can go visit him, but you got to do it in the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's shown here too. And in future episodes, a lot of the episodes, that dynamic is shown. yeah, we'll get to what you want to do, but we got to take our time and take the procedure, like the proper procedure and everything like that. So.
Yeah, I think there's even a moment where, Scully questions, should this be an X-File?
Yeah.
Because the FBI work in this, like where we get small bits of information and we can make our own conclusions on what's happened to this missing person, we will call it. She may have ran off with a biker buddy. And then we get all this like small stuff. Like we meet a girl in a library who may know information or not. And, we go through that. It's good detective / FBI work of like, no, she has no, we find small things here and there, like something in a wallet. Mulder finds a shallow grave. Yeah. We find these things and we can piece together the clue that is it abductee or is it just the girl ran away with a biker?
And I think that that's the way the story starts to go is they tell you it's a young girl that just ran off with a boyfriend. And then, I like what you mentioned, Scully basically goes, look, she just ran away with her boyfriend. There's no reason for us to be here. It's not an X-File. No. And he's like, no, there's more to this.
Yeah.
And as usual, the man is always right. The woman needs to shut up and make sandwiches. No. Oh, no. Oh, wait, sorry. Wrong podcast. But no, we see her like basically say, no, this isn't an X-File. This is just regular old police work.
Yeah.
But he's determined to prove that it is an X-File, and he does so fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Especially once they get to the lake, before they find the body that the wolf shows them. Mm-hmm. He's like, look at the trees; they're all singed on top. The camper's blistered on top. Look at all this evidence, and again, Scully's like, yeah, but science.
Yeah.
And I think that by the end of the episode, she's like, all right, yeah, I'm not saying it's an abduction, but there's strange circumstances to this.
Yeah.
So
it's like if you look like at a regular crime scene, mm-hmm. and everything points to this one suspect, Mulder's the guy going, yeah, but what about aliens? Just like that's how Mulder's brain works. Because in the long run, if we don't really know, because the girl appears after a bunch of bikers just appear out in the woods. There might have just been strange coincidences.
You're starting to sound like Scully. That was an alien abduction, 100%.
No,
outside of seeing an alien actually take her into a spaceship, it's almost empirical evidence saying it's an abduction. The singed trees, the glass, the blistered roof on the camper, the little kid, again, bringing back your little kid, he's getting transmissions from somewhere.
Jacob, this lake is called Okeechobee, or whatever it's called. You don't think you don't think they're making moonshine out there on some like back of the car and stuff?
But what does any of that have to the weird rednecks let's say they're making their meth, they're doing their thing. What does that have to do with alien abduction? What does that have to do with this girl disappearing? What does that have to?
She didn't disappear. She didn't disappear. She was taken by bikers for a weekend. Go to Sturgis.
Okay.
No, but this is what makes the show great because as a viewer, mm-hmm. you can pick what you believe. You can be on Mulder's side. You can be on Scully's side. Where it's just like. Yeah, but, if you look at all the events and stuff, I didn't see no aliens. And that little boy, I mean, he could have just been...
This is the rare occasion when you hear the phrase or the term, when you hear hoofs, think horse, not zebra. This is the rare occasion where the crazier answer is the horse. because everything is pointing to the alien and not the zebra being meth bikers that took a girl for a weekend and dropped her off back in the middle of wherever the fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you definitely can take away from this show what you want.
Yeah.
You can agree with Scully and be wrong if you want. It's cool, like, but this was an abduction.
Yeah.
Like, flat out.
We'll let you be the judge of
Yeah,
that.
you tell us what you think. You tell us what you took away from this episode.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm saying it was an abduction. He's saying possibly this...
Oh, it was an abduction, all right. It was just done by Michael Bethfrienders.
Michael Bethfrienders.
Yeah,
Okay.
Michael Bethfrienders. I don't know why that just popped in my head.
What is that from? That just sounds like the most made-up name.
Yeah, it was from my brain. No, I think it was just a blend of methed out bikers
yeah.
or something.
And bikes have fenders.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I mean, that would make her a little harlot, which they definitely continue. Like the sheriff basically goes, "She's a slut.
Yeah.
She'll show up eventually."
Yeah.
But
She did.
Yeah, she did. The aliens dropped her back off. But all right, so let's focus on the little kid for a second.
Okay.
What do you think the story is behind that? At this point, pretend you don't know what's going on with him. What do you think is happening?
I mean, that's the best, other than the singed roof and the glass on the beach, or the singed trees of alien interaction, is there is message codes going through a TV, going through his brain, which is, it's like serendipitous or whatever. I think that's a word. But yeah, it's communicating with him basically the way that someone would be watching television, as they say. The code that he's writing ones and zeros on paper.
Right.
It's not just one thing. It's like images and a little bit of this and a little bit of that,
Right.
instead of the little boy writing out complete code. I think that going back to what I said is that's your alien. Like, okay, you want to believe that it was methed out bikers, or you want to believe that it's aliens. The reason that I say now more so that it's aliens is because the little boy, really, there's a communication there.
Okay.
In the episode, we learn also that the mother saw a UFO at one point at the same lake.
Yeah.
So that's another, like, okay, check, not methed out bikers,
Right.
aliens, So yeah, I really think that the little boy is the indication, basically.
Right. With him, they mentioned in the episode, like, as the one agent is putting all the binary into the computer, showing the images, showing the sound bits and everything, they basically say, like, it's like flipping channels.
Yeah.
But if you remember, we sent out those golden records, and a couple of those things that they were saying were on those golden records.
Yes.
So maybe they're sending it back saying, we did receive it, and this is what we saw, But also, at the same time, you would have to think that this advanced species would not be sending out their information or their reply or their response, whatever, to a 6-year-old boy through a TV. You would think that they would send it in a grander scale so that everybody would know. Like, if this kid could have just been doing this forever had that girl not been abducted.
Yeah.
So he could have had 100 years worth of papers written there, and nobody would know anything. And his mom would eventually just, we got to get rid of this stuff, you know?
Quit
Just,
doing your math work on, you know.
Yeah, because she seems like ones and zeros confuse her.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you thought was fat to this? Is there anything that you thought that could be trimmed out of this episode that just wasn't necessary?
I'm going no.
All right. Well, what did you find to be the most impactful part of this episode? What, like, really, like, what part of the episode made you go, oh, shit, this is going to be some good stuff coming? Like,
It's two things I'm going to actually go through. Not one, but two, because they're two important things. One, the sister stuff, because that's the stuff that's going to carry on through the whole series.
Okay.
And then also just the Dana just going, not everything's an X-Files, Fox. You know, not everything's an X-File. And I think that really needs to be there.
I'm going to go ahead and answer my own question because I think it's kind of important. The very end of this episode is extremely important. You see Mulder breaking down, crying in a church because he misses his sister, and this case was very close to what he experienced. So you get that. You get all the emotion with him. You see the emotional side. You see the vulnerable side. You see the real reason why he's doing this. And then again, at the very end of the episode, you hear Scully listening to his therapy tapes or his hypnotherapy tapes.
Yeah.
And you see that she cares for him. She understands that this is personal, and though she can't understand it all, she's going to do her best to be on his side at all times.
Yeah.
So that shows that she's interested, she cares, and she's going to try to further her knowledge on what he went through, what he dealt with, in order to help him in his search, in his journey.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, yeah, the end really shows us a broken Mulder, a different Mulder. Yeah, I feel that this one, out of anyone, should be the one to really pay attention to.
He's going to say this every week.
Yes.
So get ready. Anything else?
No, I think we got it all. I mean, the episode was so, it's like fruitcake. I mean, there's everything in there, but man, you can only have a little bit of pieces. You know?
All right, well, that's episode 4, Conduit, and we'll see you next week when we tackle the Jersey Devil.
Yep.
Thanks for watching, and like, subscribe, share, and let us know what you love about the X-Files, and let us know who you agree with, whether it was meth bikers or aliens, and we'll see you next week.
Yep.